Hello my friends. So I decided to do this video because I'm getting a ton of messages, and so I've got a couple of reasons why I'm doing the video. One is to kind of tell you just what my boundaries are, I guess. I don't know. I don't mean that to be offensive in any way, but I'm trying to get away from all the distraction of the last 3 years of my life and what that has done to my family and taking me away from my family. And yet this new I guess because of my confession, because of changing, it's creating even more of a distraction for my family. And so I want to talk about my new boundaries and what you can expect, not because I don't love you guys, but because I just need to protect my time for my family. The other thing I want to talk about is just a few things that I've been experiencing since having these realizations come to me, and just want to share those things so those who are starting to make some changes might maybe give you some comfort to know what to expect, I guess. I don't know. And then also just to reiterate that I don't have your answers. I don't have all your answers. And so that's the summary. Okay, here you go. So the first thing is just what to expect from me. So I will still use Facebook because I feel like we have been asked to use social media to flood the earth with the gospel. And so I've had actually somebody use that against me to say that what I'm, that it's us stepping back from sharing our messages with other people goes counter to what we've been told to do, which is to flood the earth with the gospel and our testimonies. And I would just ask you to ask yourself one question on that. Who are you promoting? When you're using Facebook, who are you promoting, or any other social media thing? Are you truly promoting the gospel, or are you promoting yourself and your business? So just ponder that. That's a question I had to ask myself. So just ponder that. I know for me, I will still use social media, but I will be using it to promote the gospel, to maybe share, keep people up to date with my personal life as far as with my family and my children, and the way that I feel like I should use it. I will not be using Facebook Messenger. It is a huge distraction of time for me away from my family. So you can send me messages on Facebook Messenger, but just know that I won't be checking it. It's become a full-time job with all the messages that I've had coming in, and I feel like, oh my goodness, I am not getting my time back. I'm feeling like I'm obligated to read every single message that people are sending me, and I don't feel obligated to do that. I am sharing what I'm sharing. You guys are to take that to the Lord and in prayer and humble prayer and ask if any of this applies to you. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. I'm not your judge. I'm not your God. I'm just Amy. I am sharing my experience in hopes to help other people because I feel like I wish that somebody had shared it with me. I am specifically warning people against things that I've gotten into because I have recommended those to other people. I have put my stamp of approval on a lot of different programs and names and resources out there. And I cannot do that. I cannot no longer endorse those things for many reasons. And I don't feel like I want to go into every single reason. I've given enough. I feel like I've given plenty of reasons on my other things that I've done and shared. But I've gotten some heat for that, and I'm sorry. This whole thing has already destroyed my reputation. It's destroyed the business that I created, which it's okay, because if it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I just want to make things as right as I can. And this has been hard, and I think that's why I want to tell you a little bit about what I've experienced since doing this, just so that those who actually make these changes, I guess, to give you a heads up of what you might expect, but also that it's okay, keep going. So first of all, let me finish with my boundaries. So I will not be checking Messenger. If you post on my posts, I'm going to use Facebook just to share things, and I'm not going to be reading all your beautiful, comments. That is very time consuming as well, and it takes a lot of time from my family, and some things are nice and some things are not so nice, and either way it's okay. I don't have the time. I don't have the time for that, and so I don't want you to be offended by that, but I will not be looking at Facebook Messenger really ever at all. The only thing that I will be using it for is to post my testimony, basically things that as I'm doing my scripture study, as I'm reading conference talks, I will post things as I used to do all the time in the past. I will keep doing that, and maybe some things about my family or whatever. So I'm just giving you a heads up because I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you, but I just wanted you to know that. Now, I also have people that are contacting my friends, especially specifically one, but a friend of mine, to get a hold of me. Please don't do that. Respect her privacy. She does not work for me. The business is gone. So please don't contact her. Give her space, and don't put her in the middle of this, because she's had enough that she's trying to deal with as well. Because it's a lot to take in when you realize that you have been off when you thought you were doing all these good, beautiful things, and that you were working for the Lord. It's hard enough to go through this. You don't need the additional pressure of everybody else like giving you their stuff. So just please give her space. Give my friends space. And let's see. So yeah, that's kind of my boundary. If you do decide to contact me through my website, which is another way that people are contacting me, a lot of people are contacting me. I really don't want to make anybody feel bad. Please know that this is not a I want you to feel bad thing. It's just, I really am trying to reclaim my life, and I'm really trying to keep my focus on my family and my local ward family and my community. And so, please honor that. I guess that's what I'm asking. Please honor that. And this has already been hard enough. Please don't make it any harder. And I know you're going to be wanting to reach out. I get that. I'm sorry. I really need to reclaim my life. And so anyways, if you do happen to reach out through the business, please only do so if you're an actual person who has a reason to reach out to the business. Does that make sense? So please only message the business account or the business email if you actually have something that has to do with the business. And what I mean by that is that you are somebody that has purchased something from me in the past. If you're a new person that has never done anything to do with the business, please don't reach out through the business. I'm making that gentle, kind request. And if you do that, if it doesn't have anything to do with the business, I probably will not respond to you. So I don't want you to feel bad about that. I just need to set some boundaries here. So, okay, next, what's been going on with me since then? So this is hard. And the other thing that I'm noticing is people are reaching out to me in their pain and in their agony and in their struggle to understand what I'm saying, is it right? Is it not right? That's something that you've got to go figure out. But this is a hard thing. It was hard for me to wake up to this. So I want to explain to you what it's been like. And when we have a major life change in any kind of way, like something that really affects us deeply, we go through what's called the stages of grief. And there's probably different names that people will use for it, but I've been in those stages, and it's been incredibly challenging. It doesn't mean that you're not on the right track. Just know that it's part of mourning a loss. You're literally grieving a loss of something very, very much so. So the first stage for me was denial. I really did not want to see these things. I do, but I don't. It's complicated. It's like do, but I don't, right? If you're off, you want to know that. But if you're off, what does that mean? Oh my goodness, what all does that affect? Everything, right? It affects a lot of things. And so it's a hard realization. So for those of you who are listening to this that have not gotten off, please be kind. Will you please be kind? It's hard enough to realize these things. It's even harder if people are kind of in your face pointing fingers and saying, I told you so. Like that's just not Christ-like. So please be kind. So I have been in denial. I bargained for a while, is there a way to not have it all be wrong? Can I please hold on to some of the stuff? Because, for me, it was like somebody had to peel off the Band-Aid. Instead of ripping it off really fast, for me, it was almost like we had to slowly, I guess God in his tender mercy kind of slowly started pulling the Band-Aid back for me to show how much damage was really there, how many lies have been weaved into my life for the last few years. And it's hard because not everything is wrong. Not everything is wrong, but the fruits and the path that it was leading on was definitely wrong. And so I've had to look and see, and I can't believe how many philosophies of the world were tied into my beliefs. And that's been hard. Even something as simple as my little bookmark that I love. That I really thought I had created, that was just this beautiful thing, but even that has a tie-in to a world's philosophy. And I will show you, it's there's actually several, but it's I choose to feel and believe that I am enough. That just sounds beautiful. Doesn't that sound beautiful? And I want to believe that, right? Well, this was hard because I've given these out to people. I've sold these, it's hard to see, oh my goodness, even something as precious as this, it has an untruth on it and it got weaved into that. So what's wrong with saying, I choose to feel and believe that I'm enough? That sounds beautiful, right? With no qualifying statements around that, you can believe you're buying into the world's philosophy. The world's philosophy is you're enough. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to do anything. You're just simply just be, and that's good. That's fine. And for those of us who are striving for something more, those of us who are striving for all that God has to give, there's qualifiers on that. We have laws, we have guidelines, and if we don't live by those guidelines and honor the laws that He has for that, we can't receive all that He has to give. Are you good enough? There's a great talk. So it was hard because I got woken up in the morning and this was the thing on my mind, let's look at your bookmarks. And I was like, are you serious? My bookmarks too? Like, this was one of the most recent ones. So I was just like, I'm already feeling bad enough, but now this too, you want me? Oh goodness. So I pulled it out and I started looking. And I was like, oh my goodness. And he's like, just look up the word enough on the LDS.org website. And I was like, okay. So I look up the word enough and I'm looking at, and there's a great talk. I didn't write this down, sorry, but it was one of the 70 that talked about, are we good enough? And the answer is yes, but it's, well, I posted on my Facebook page. The things that I've been posting lately kind of have to do with contradicting the lies that I bought into. So they're posts from our most, relatively either the newest general conference or other general conferences or scriptures, but basically that kind of like correct the lies that I was believing. So there are things that, yes, you're good enough and yes, you will make it, but that's if you turn to the Lord, you rely on Him, you trust in Him, you keep His commandments, and you rely on His grace and His enabling power. The quote was way better, so you may want to just look it up. But anyways, something as simple as that. That is just an example, a little example. And so that was so hard, you guys. I wanted to not believe that, but it was okay. So other feelings that I've been through is anger. Oh my goodness. It just hit me. One day it was just like extreme anger, just anger and feeling betrayed by God and feeling betrayed by myself and betrayed by other people. And anger was definitely one of those that it was hard. It was a really, lots of anger. I had to deal with all that. But that was one of them. And you might be tempted to get really angry or go into that stage. Just let it come, deal with it, let it out, and then let it go. Just don't get stuck in the stages, because that's where the real problems arise. So anger. The next one was depression, grief and depression for me. I just went into deep sadness and I was mourning the loss. I was mourning the loss of affecting other people's lives. I was mourning the loss of making a difference in the world. I was mourning the loss of my identity. I mean, this has been my identity for 3 years now. And I was also hit with the realization that I had been lied to on so many levels. One of the biggest lies is that this life shouldn't be challenging at all. If you're doing the right things, if you're doing your declarations and rocking your vision board and your declaration statements and all that stuff like that, if you're doing those things, you should not be struggling. You should not have such a battle, such a struggle. And that is a lie, my friends. That is a lie. Now, these have to be in 15-minute increments, so I'm going to have to pause this and finish up in just a minute. Well, I'll try to finish. Anyways, that is one of the biggest deceptions. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, geez, I am now a normal person again who has opposition in all things, and I can't just pretend that life isn't hard. And there was a great talk in this last general conference about hard is good. It is good. It is part of the plan to do this. And one of the negative things about all this stuff is it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you if you're not happy all the time. And that's just not true.